Soon as I went to the airport, my heart dropped. Okay, and I started immediately culture shock. Bam. Okay. I felt like I was catfished about the apartment that I was living in when I went to Caribbean med school. I felt like I was catfished by the pictures of the island. And the pictures of the island, all I saw was like the beaches and the blue sky, but I didn't really see like how the houses look. I didn't really see the roads, and it was very, very ignorant of me to not Google more, but I was fighting so hard to submit all my applications at the end of college. And that's one of the warning signs that I missed. If you have to fight so hard for something, maybe you shouldn't do it. Like, maybe there's a reason why you're working so hard to get there. Like, I had to fight and push and move to get into this Caribbean med school. Mind you, I didn't take the MCAT. So there's no reason why I was fighting this hard to get. Another warning sign that I had on the island was that the teachers on the island did not like me. They did not like me at all. I think I told you guys the story where I was just trying to look at the cadaver, look at the human body, and this guy was taller than me, so I was just trying to look, and the teacher was like, get out the way so my favorite top student Abraham can see. Like, the teachers, most of them did not like me. So that was another warning sign. I didn't do much for them to not like me. Okay. Another warning sign is there were stories of, I think, the assistant principal sleeping with students, cheating on his wife, things of that sort. I heard those stories, but I was like, that has nothing to do with me. And I wasn't going to tell anybody because I didn't want to get blackballed. I worked so hard to get here. I'm shutting my mouth. That has nothing to do with me. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. That was another warning sign I had to get off the island. I hate to say this. I really do hate to say this, because I really love Degrassi. But a lot of the Canadian students on the island were very, very tone deaf. Now, living in the United States has a unique experience because the United States, we had the civil rights movement. We had I Have a Dream. We had Rosa Parks. But some of these Canadian students, they were doing some microaggressive, macro. It could be micro, it could be macro aggressive things to me. One time, this was towards the end, before COVID came. And when COVID came, it felt like the freaking apocalypse, because I knew if I stay on this island, it's going to be me and it's going to be the islanders, and they're always going to put themselves first, as they should. Okay. Anyway, back to my original thing that I was saying. There was some macro aggression. One of the students, we're going to call her Tasha, okay? Tasha said some weird stuff. So the way the students were in the school, I think I told you guys in my original Nightmare in the Caribbean Med School video. The way the students were in the school, everybody was secretive. Everybody was hiding study material from each other. So we would arrange our desks in a way so this person can't see what I'm doing, this person can't see what I was doing. So I was sitting kind of like in the corner, kind of close to the bathroom, but not there yet. Well, one day, Tasha and her boyfriend, Abraham, who were like the king and queen, I guess, of Caribbean Med School, because I guess they were so freaking smart, they rearranged their desks some way, somehow, and it pushed me into the bathroom. And I think I said, hey, you guys, or somebody said, hey, you guys need to move your desks because she's getting closer to the bathroom. Tasha's going to say, oh, she should be sitting in the bathroom. And I was like, no, Tasha, you should sit in the bathroom, because this was not the first time these people have been macro aggressive. But the Canadians were a special type of just macro aggressive. I'm sure I have more examples, but for whatever reason, it's not ringing in my head right now. So I know Tasha would not have said to a white student that, the white student should sit in the bathroom. I know she wouldn't have said that to them. She felt so comfortable saying that to me because of the way the school, the teachers, everybody, in my opinion, treated black people. And maybe there were some token black people there who everybody loved, but unfortunately I was not one of the token black people that people at this Caribbean med school love. I could give you an example of how the teachers were fascinated by the white people. One time, I think I was in pathophysiology class and I had a question about something. I had a question about an assignment. I had a question about a question on the quiz, something, and I wanted to speak to the teacher. And mind you, we have a lot of Indian teachers, and I love everybody. I love Indians, but in my opinion, a lot of them are also very not all of them, but a lot of them are very prejudiced, in my opinion. So there's a group of students and they're just talking. The teacher's standing at the door. They're like diagonal from the teacher, and I'm trying to ask a question. I don't know if I was inside the classroom or outside the classroom. I don't think it matters, but I'm giving you a summary of this situation, okay? So I'm trying to ask the teacher a question about the pathophysiology test, quiz, whatever. And I guess the teacher overhears this boy. I'm gonna call this boy Tom. The teacher overhears Tom talking about how he's Anglo-Saxon. He got some Irish in him. He has a little bit of Jewish in him. His grandmother is from Germany. And the teacher is so infatuated with it. The teacher's like, wow, what? I can't believe your grandmother is German. Oh my goodness. And then your grandfather, he's from Italy too. Wow, that is so fascinating. Oh my goodness. Wow, tell me more. And I'm standing there like waiting for them to have this conversation about how white he is, I guess. Not to discriminate. That's very, very important. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a question about the pathophysiology quiz. And then he's like mad at me that I had the audacity to interrupt his conversation about how white he is. And I have a pathophysiology question. I think the pathophysiology trumps how white Tom is. It's cool that Tom is mixed with whites and whites. I love it for Tom, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I have a pathophysiology question, pathophysiology teacher. Please. That was just some weird stuff that happened on the daily on this island. I felt like I was in a twilight zone. I just couldn't believe it. I was going through it on the island. I didn't have my hair care products. I think I told you guys I had hyperthyroidism. That's what the doctors say anyway. So it got really rough when I would wear makeup. It would sweat off. It's dripping off my face. I have oily skin. I was going through it. So I wore my afro out. And one of the islanders asked me if I was mentally insane because I'm wearing an afro. And I was so confused because I'm like, you're black just like me. What do you mean am I mentally insane because I'm wearing my afro? He was like, yeah, people here don't wear their hair like that. They relax their hair. So if somebody is driving past you, they're going to think you're insane. And I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for telling me. How do you respond to that? I have 2 more warning signs that I ignored that I should leave Caribbean med school. Okay, mind you, remember I told you about all this macro aggression that I was going through in Caribbean med school. So at the end of my semester, I was packing up to go on my summer break at the end of my first semester. I'm rolling my suitcase down the hill. Here goes Tasha. Oh girl, I heard so-and-so, a black student, failed and they're not coming back to the island next year. I wonder if you're coming back to the island next year. So then I told her, yeah, I'm coming back to the island. I passed everything with flying colors. I'm coming back. And now I had to come back because I wanted so badly to prove Tasha wrong, because the way Tasha was saying it, that so-and-so, a black person, didn't pass their exams, but the way she was saying it, it sounded like she expected people of color to not be able to get through the curriculum of the school. So now in my head, I badly did not want to come back because I felt like I was being tortured on the island. But after she said that, I was like, oh, now I'm coming back, because how dare you think that I am not going to pass these classes because I'm black. Last and not least, one of the biggest warning signs I had to not return to this island was that everybody's favorite student, TJ, remember I told you guys in my update of Caribbean med school video that there was a guy that was feeding all the dogs in the neighborhood and it made the dogs territorial. That guy, everybody's favorite student, apparently I found out that he had stayed on the island during the summer, and allegedly his wife, who was a nurse practitioner, they said she allegedly murdered him or poisoned him. So the story was that TJ was drinking at the bar on the island and somebody put something in his drink and he never made it. Okay? Now, one thing you need to know about TJ is he was married to a much older woman and he was living with her on the island. And I believe I talked to her and it sounded like they threw away all their life savings so he could become a doctor on the island, and she was the breadwinner, and I'm guessing she sold all her stuff to support him. And TJ used to be a famous actor at one point in his life, maybe like D-list actor at one point of his life, and he was very beautiful and good looking to the average person. He looked like somebody that would be in Full House. TJ, allegedly, he was messing around with the girls on the island. The young, fresh girls on the island. And allegedly his wife, who gave away her life savings to support this man, had a motive to get rid of him. And allegedly she poisoned him, and it got blamed on a random person, and they said that he got drugged, like his drink got drugged in the bar. And she hurried up, allegedly, and cremated his body, and they couldn't exhume the body. And allegedly she was able to bribe the people of that island and get out. And because the body was cremated, there was no way of knowing what substance that he was drugged with, and allegedly she got off scot-free. So these were some big warning, flashing red signs for me not to go back to the island. But I just kept going because I thought that I'm just this exceptional, wonderful person that is going to make it through no matter what. Even though I was being tortured, even though I was being like macro and microaggressioned on the island, even though I was being taken advantage of left, right, and center by everybody and their mama. I just kept on pushing through until COVID happened and I had a mental breakdown, and I was like, no longer am I going to do this. Please like and subscribe.